I don't remember anything like very particular about a lot of these matches, but I think like the dynamic isn't as important for what I'm trying to talk about in these hands. I'm just trying to talk about like the mechanics of it. So flop bottom pair, Jack 7-4 rainbow. This is like really, really standard check back. Betting just doesn't really make any sense. Unless you expect your opponent to have like 5-6 or 9-10, 9-8 and to be like check calling you every single time. But even then it's not great because like, yeah, you're getting money in the pot when your equity is probably a little bit better than theirs, but not that much better. I think you're just going to be a lot better checking back here. Of course, I turned gin. I promise, though, not all of these go well for me. And I think a lot of you guys will probably think on this turn, okay, well, we made 3 4s, so we should probably raise. But I just don't really... Essentially, in these spots, I feel like I get credit really, really often when I raise this turn and then bet, like, any river that's not a Jack 7 or 4. Because... like for one, it's really hard for my opponent to have a 4 because like what 4s is he calling out of position? Probably ace 4 suited, but he can't have hearts or clubs, so there's only 2 combos of that. Most players don't defend like 4-5. Some of them do, though I don't think it's particularly great to do so. But like just in general, it's gonna be a lot harder for him to have a 4 than for me to have one. And I think that when I do check behind the flop, I'm gonna get put on a 4 really, really often. So like I probably get away with this like 90% of the time whenever I check back a board like this in the bottom card pairs and my opponent leads into me, I just raise the turn and then bet non-board pairing rivers big, and I think I get credit way more than I actually have it. So I decided to call here, and I think that like sure, raising's fine, but I like the ability I have here to call and represent a 7, which I think that he will try to get me off of on a ton of rivers. The other thing is like when I check behind the flop and I raise this turn, what bluffs can my opponent put me on? Like not really very many. Like any open ender I would have bet the flop, or gut shot I would have bet the flop. Most times, if I had like pocket 5, like the only hand that could be turning into a bluff would be like pocket 5s that check back the flop and then raising the turn. But most people just don't really want to put you on that. So yeah, I do get even make 4 quad 4s, so obviously that's good. And when he bets this amount, yeah, I thought that he was gonna bluff a decent amount, but probably not that often when the board runs out like this. In any case, I'm obviously gonna value raise this river. And it works out pretty well. So the key on this one here was I think on the turn where I think like if he has king jack, obviously he's gonna lead and he's gonna call a raise. But I do think that you gotta fold a decent amount on the river, even from a hand like king jack, just from my experience.